Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a Saturday episode of the Degenerate Disseminators podcast. Feels like it's been an eternity, guys, but I'm your host, Jordan, and we have our co-host, Daniel, in the building with us today.
Hey guys.
So, our last episode, or last, little series of episodes, we kind of threw out a bunch of stuff, and then we were like, we're going radio silent. Give you guys a fair warning, but, we missed doing the show, so came back to do a little playoff check-in. Some early looks into some round two matchups. They haven't all been set yet, obviously, but just kind of diving into what we know is happening so far. Also, just kind of recap April, and like I said, we did dish out a bunch of stuff in our last few episodes, so we're also going to be recapping those as well. Before we do the monthly recap, I'm going to jump, like I said, into those series bets and some of our futures bets. We're going to start with the NBA. For futures bets, the only one that we lost was the Lakers for half a unit. It's half a unit. That was kind of more just a little fun one. But yeah, the Timberwolves make easy work of the Lakers, unfortunately. For the series bets, however, Pistons plus 2.5, easy cover. Um, Kind of, I don't know, a little disappointed in how that series turned out, but I'll talk more about that once we kind of, talk more about the playoffs in general. Over 5.5 games for the Bucks Pacers series. Sorry. Um, this was a very disappointing one. This is, our only series bet that didn't hit for the NBA. Bucks could have forced the game six. They were up 7 in overtime with 40 seconds left, and they gave up 8 unanswered points and lost the game. And the Pacers won the series, so that one stings pretty bad. But it's okay though because the over 5.5 for the Rockets Warriors series does hit. Um, they actually just forced a game 7 tonight, which I will dive more into coming up. So yeah, we go 2-2 for the NBA. I did count the loss of the Lakers futures bet for us. So we're down 1 UTA on the NBA. However, guys, for the NHL, Daniel cooked, guys. We had 6 series bets go out. All 6 of them hit. 6-0. I'm just gonna speed run them because they all hit. Oilers to win the series. Hurricanes minus 1.5 series handicap. Maple Leafs minus 1.5 handicap. Golden Knights to win the series. Capitals minus 1.5 handicap. And actually, I lied. Sorry, this one is not decided yet. So we're currently 5 and undecided because the Winnipeg series is actually also going to a game 7. So 5-0 as we stand right now, up 5.15 units on the NHL series bets. Um, yeah, the Maple Leafs bet was plus money, so that was nice. So with that being said, that closes out our month of April here, guys. So that does bring us to sorry, I kind of messed everything up with that Jets bet. I'm not gonna lie. Give me a second. Um, Let me just do some math here. Okay, so that brings us to 31 wins, 21 losses on all of our bets, and up 10.4 units on the month, which is absolutely
Let's
huge.
go.
Yes, we had a couple rough months. Going into these series bets, I kind of, worst case, we would have broken even pretty much, or we could have ended up, in a double-digit unit win month. So yeah, excited to, look forward in this new month. Gonna obviously have some more series bets and stuff. But yeah, pretty much today's episode was just kind of looking into the playoffs for both the NHL and NBA. And yeah, Daniel, what do you got to say about how the NHL playoffs are shaping up so far?
So fucking good. All these series, except for the Winnipeg series, have been very fun to watch. Um, Obviously, right now we still have two undecided matchups here with Winnipeg and St. Louis and Dallas and Colorado. Both of them going to a game 7, which is really interesting. Blues able to push the Jets back that far. And then Dallas and Colorado have been just pretty evenly matched throughout their whole matchup so far. So I mean, we're in for very interesting finish for both of these teams, or for all of these teams rather. And going into the second round, I mean, we still don't know what's going to happen for either of those 4 teams, so I won't talk about that too much. Um, for round 2, we have so far for the confirmed matchups: Golden Knights versus Oilers, Capitals versus Hurricanes, and Maple Leafs versus the Panthers. Um, I don't really see. I mean, honestly, I can see the Oilers beating the Golden Knights pretty badly, considering the Golden Knights were kind of struggling with Minnesota at some point. Um, and I don't know, the Oilers have just been able to, especially in the King series, take over, especially when they're down. I think that's when they do their best work. So honestly, I feel like Vegas might go up a game or two, and then the Oilers just are gonna start cooking. McDavid and Drysaitel are gonna score a bunch of goals and basically win the game for everybody and win the series for everybody. So I have the Oilers going into the conference final so far. Um, Going back to the East for our other confirmed matchups, we have the Capitals and the Hurricanes. Personally, um, both of these teams went up against nothing burgers in the first round in the Montreal Canadiens and the New Jersey Devils. Um, so, they're not really tired. They're not too banged up, it seems. A lot of these players are nice and healthy. So we're in for a pretty fire matchup here. Obviously, Carolina is very good at defense. The Capitals are very physical and have the greatest goal scorer of all time on their team. So I mean, honestly, I don't really see a clear winner here. Just looking at it, I have to look into it a little further, and that would be for another episode once all the brackets are or all the matchups are finally decided. Um, I think this is going to be going to either game 6 or 7, though. I think both of these teams are pretty evenly matched when it comes to just overall skill and what they've done so thus far. So, yeah, that's it for that series. I have Carolina going to the conference final, but I'm not even really sure about that. Anyways, moving on to our final confirmed matchup for the second round, we have the Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers. Um, Panthers win. There's not much to say. The Panthers have clearly shown that the regular season doesn't matter at all whatsoever in their series against the Lightning. So many people had the Lightning winning in 6 or 7 games. I had the Panthers winning in 7 games. And, they just blew that out of the water, beating Tampa in 5 games and really proving that they're back and they're better, honestly, this season. The Toronto Maple Leafs struggled a little bit against the Senators. We almost saw a Senator come back. Uh, Pretty much, I want to say most of their games were decided in OT or by just one goal. So the Senators were giving them some issues. And I think if you're having issues with a team like the Senators, you're going to have major issues with a team like the Panthers. And I just really don't see the Leafs going too far. Personally, I think Florida in 6, and that is my only actual bet at this point in time. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about round 2 as of right now. I'll go more in depth eventually. But what do you think, Jordan?
Um, I do just want to touch up on the Jets Blues series. Guys, I really couldn't care less about either of these teams, but I actually feel pity for the Jets. That I really don't understand how this game is going.
Dude,
Or
the
this,
regular season doesn't matter.
uh,
It really we see it every year. A team does so crazy in the playoffs, or not in the playoffs, in the regular season. Obviously, the Jets finished first, won the President's Trophy, and now look at them going to
yeah,
Game 7. The
yeah,
Blues, the wild card team. You
yeah.
serious?
Very very interesting to see. Um, just recapping my game or my round 1 thoughts. I'm not too surprised about the Stars and Avalanche. Going to a game 7. I do hope the Stars take it. We do have a futures bet on that. So obviously, if all 3 of our teams can advance, we have 2 right now that have moved on. That would be pretty awesome. Give us a good hedging opportunity. Um, I thought it looked like the Wild did have the Knights figured out, and they're 2 wins, but then Knights locked back in, I guess. So um,
They remembered how to play hockey.
yeah. But I didn't really care too much for the series, being honest. Kings Oilers was a beautiful disaster in my eyes. I don't even know the number of average goals per game in the series. It felt like 15. There was a goal every 30 seconds.
pretty much.
Yeah, the
Both
goaltending,
teams were firing on all cylinders.
yeah,
Crazy.
goaltending ability, they were kind of just having a mid off, but
Listen, man, Darcy Kemper for the Kings was phenomenal in this series in a lot of their games. But I don't know. The Oilers are just they have so much skill. It's ridiculous. I hate that team so much.
but yeah, Leafs, dropping 2 games to the Senators and almost a third one. Um, yeah, I don't know. I made fun of the Knicks for being soft, in our playoff preview, and I feel like the Leafs might just be, like the NHL equivalent of the New York Knicks at this point. Um, you didn't have that for me,
You know
but
what's funny? I have a stat that's kind of funny that I saw on TV today.
let's hear it.
In series clinching games, the Maple Leafs are 2-13 in their last 15
Yeah,
series
I believe
clinching.
it. Yeah. Well, they were
Fucking
actually,
ridiculous.
when they were up, what, 3-0, they were fucking 0-13 to the number. So,
Yeah.
yeah, which is crazy. But yeah, honestly, the Panthers Lightning series, I did think the Panthers definitely did have what it took to beat them, but doing it in 5 games is incredible. No other way to put it. I really did not expect that. They really beat the brakes off of the Lightning, and I would not be surprised if we see some crazy Lightning rebuild because what the fuck. But uh, Capitals beating the Canadians, yeah, understandable. And the Hurricanes. I'm surprised the Devils picked up a win in that series. If I'm being honest, that was a huge mismatch. Yeah, that was there was no universe in which the Devils were going to win that series. So not too surprised there. As far as round 2 goes, I do agree. I think the Oilers. We're just gonna it's gonna be a repeat of last season. We're just gonna see McDavid and Draisaitl dragging their team through the fire. I do see them making conference finals appearance. And for the Eastern side of things, definitely Panthers. If they can beat the Lightning in 5, I can't imagine what they're going to do to Toronto. So should be a pretty easy win for them there. And for the Capitals Hurricane series, kind of a toss up for me if I'm being honest. Like you said, really good defense versus a really good offense. Anything could really happen in that series. I do want to lean towards Carolina. Like I said, I do have a little bit of a soft spot for them. They did make us a lot of money in the regular season on the show, so would like to see them go through. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of just looking at it. Who would be the easier matchup for the Panthers? So I don't. I would think maybe the Capitals. I don't know. But I do want to see another Panthers finals appearance. That's for sure. So. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for the NHL. Shall we move into the NBA?
Sure.
All right, so round 1, little recap here. We have also 2 series that are undecided, but opposite sides of the bracket here. Um, Thunder make easy work of the Grizzlies. They sweep them, I believe. Actually, no, I lied. Oops, my bad. But yeah, easy sweep for the Thunder. Nightmare matchup for the Grizzlies. Can't play defense. Yeah, that not surprised at all there. Um, Today actually, we do see Game 7 between the Nuggets and the Clippers. I'm surprised honestly. I mean, I did have. I think I leaned Nuggets. On our NBA playoff preview. But shout out the Clippers. I guess Kawhi's been playing really good. He's been dealing with a lot of injuries over the past few years, so happy to see him doing well. But I really don't know who takes Game 7. I feel like we might see the Nuggets coaching problem, given that their head coach got fired. I think that definitely could be the deciding factor. A very high stakes game here, but we'll see how that goes. I really have no idea. Like I said, Minnesota does make easy work of LeBron and Luca. They win 4-1. That was a little surprising. We did have that Lakers futures bet ticket out there. I do think this was definitely one of the worst matchups they could have had in the first round. Anthony Edwards loves sending, longtime veteran all stars out of the playoffs early. So not too surprised. The last series in the West, though, I'm very surprised about the Warriors and the Rockets. There's a game tonight between them, Game 6. Complete Warriors collapse in the fourth quarter. They made like 3 field goals, I think, maybe 4 in like garbage time. But yeah, they went in trailing 2 and they lost the game by I think 15. Um, yeah, and now they have to go play Game 7 on Sunday in Houston. I really don't know. Ime Udoka has been running two centers in his lineup, and I do think it has been proving very well, as the Warriors lineup is pretty small, and I think that has been a pretty big factor into them coming back in the series. So I do want to see the Warriors win. I love Steph, but I do think they have their hands full heading back to Houston for a Game 7. But moving into the East, uh, you know, pains me to talk about this, guys, but the Cavaliers make easy work of my precious Miami Heat. For those of you that don't know, well, you guys don't know, we didn't have an episode. I was at the game on Monday, and fourth worst loss in NBA playoffs history by the Heat. They lose by 55 points, and I watched every second of it, and it was horrible. But not surprised. Honestly, I do think that this series specifically is going to raise. I mean, honestly, this series and the OKC series, I think they are going to raise a lot of questions about if the play-in tournament should still be a thing. Um, yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool when it first started, but then you get a 10 seed team that had a losing record going up against a 60 win team in the Cavaliers, and losing by 30 plus points in back to back games and getting swept. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some talks about the play-in tournament, maybe getting adjusted or just outright getting abolished next season. But we'll see. Indiana makes easy work of the Bucks 4-1. Damian Lillard goes out with a season-ending injury. I believe he tore his Achilles, which sucks to see. He went out with a DVT, came back, and then in his second game back, I think he tears his Achilles. So tough to see. But, not for me, because Giannis is definitely coming to Miami this offseason. You heard it here first, folks. We're getting Giannis. But Knicks win the series 4-2 against Detroit. I honestly think Detroit played better than the Knicks. A lot of stupid calls in this series. I do think that the Game 6 loss was definitely, the Pistons' fault. They definitely, uh, they turned it over in some very crucial moments when the time was winding down. But I really would have preferred to see the Pistons moving forward into these playoffs. And then Boston makes easy work of the Magic 4-1. Like I said, Magic has a good defense, but they just can't match the Celtics offense, and that's what happened. So as far as round 2 goes, the Thunder and the Timberwolves are still, waiting for their opponent. So I'm not going to say anything on those. But for the Eastern Conference, both of the matchups are set. We have the Cavaliers taking on the Pacers. Um, Witnessing what the Cavaliers did to the Heat all 4 games. My precious Miami Heat. I think the Cavaliers take this one down. The Pacers, like I said, kind of same story with the Celtics Magic series, but kind of the opposite. They're very one-dimensional, very good offense, but defensively they struggle. While the Cavaliers are very good on both ends of the court, so should be pretty easy work for them. 5 games, Cavaliers 6 maybe, but I think 5 is very reasonable. And then the Knicks versus the Celtics. Boy, am I not excited for this one, guys. Boston's opening up as 8.5-point favorites in Game 1, rightfully so. Like I said, I think the Knicks, there was a narrative that they've been a soft team throughout this regular season. They couldn't beat any of the top 3 teams in the NBA. I think they went like 0-10 against them. And yeah, in a playoff atmosphere, I don't think they figure it out, and win this series. Could see them picking up a couple. But yeah, I have to go Celtics in 6 for that one. But Daniel, I know you don't really keep up with the NBA like that, but I don't really know what you've been following along with. Is there anything you'd like to add to these pieces here?
Um, Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Let me just look at some stuff here.
Anyways, guys, while Daniel's looking that up, if you've made it this far, we do have 2 UFC picks coming up after this that are very funny.
I
So,
was say something about the UFC. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add about the NHL or anything. So
alrighty, no worries.
UFC time.
Alrighty. Really quick before we get into that, forgot to do our housekeeping items. My apologies. If you aren't following us on our socials already, links will be down below. DD Sports Podcasts on Instagram and TikTok. And if you guys haven't downloaded Pick It yet, what are you doing, guys? Come on, let's be real. Free money, bunch of useful features, bet tracking, all that good stuff. That link will also be down below as well. We're gonna kick it into this UFC Fight Night. The odds makers must hate us for whatever reason, because they made this card very unbettable, in my opinion. I'm sure there's some prelim fights you can bet on if you guys are interested in that, but I'm more of a main card better guy. I like to, that's when I'm definitely sitting down in front of the TV watching these fights. Like I said, very unbettable card, so we're kind of playing off that. We're picking some goofy ones. We have the hardest hitting 145er, guys. Jeremy Stephens, he's back. He's moving up to lightweight. I don't even know what his last fight was. But Jeremy Stephens definitely can hit hard. He's not really fighting for much here, if I'm being honest. We're not going to see a Jeremy Stephens title run at 155. Hate to break it to you, fight fans. Don't really know much about the guys fighting. But like I said, Jeremy Stephens can hit hard at 145, and he's going up in weight. I think he has some old man strength to him, and we could definitely see a knockout. For a fun little bet here, guys, we're taking Jeremy Stephens by finish for half a unit. It's at plus 1,000, so a nice little 10-1 return there. So we got half a unit on it. We'll get 5 units back on that if it does hit. Just a little silly goofy one. But we have a second little goofy one for the main event here. Corey Sandhagen versus Davison Figueiredo. I believe Corey Sandhagen has like a 99% chance of winning this fight. He's just too big. He has knockout power. He can grapple if needed. Very what's the word? Very elusive striker. Very hard to hit. He can hit you from very weird angles. Not really the best matchup for Figgy. He's 37. He just moved up in weight recently, which he hasn't looked too bad in. He picked up some nice wins against Rob Font and Marlon Vera. And then he kind of got walked by Piotr Jan. But one of the greatest bantamweights all time. We're not going to hold that against him. We're going to take a stab at Figgy money line here, guys. He's a plus 400. I do think Corey wins this fight, but the books made him unbettable. So we're flipping the script here, guys. Give me Figgy money line for half a unit to kick things off. First pick in a while.
What's Figgy by submission?
Let's find out. Let's hold up. Let's see.
Because personally, I think it could happen.
It might.
I don't know about you.
Hold on.
I think it's possible. He's done it before.
Plus 1,400.
God damn.
Yeah. But if you guys want to get even crazier, we're kind of, this is more of like a celebratory one. We went up 10.4 units last month. We're not gonna have too much, bets like how we've been doing. Like I said, we're just playing series bets mostly. I don't really care if one of these hits will be up pretty significantly to kick off the month. But if you guys want to get even crazier and parlay these two together, it's plus 5,400, so 54-1 odds on that 2 fights. So keep that in mind. And Daniel, you said you wanted to add something about UFC?
No, you covered everything. I was going to talk about Figgy by submission, but
is that an official Daniel pick?
Official Daniel pick for UFC, the first ever. Davison Figueiredo by submission.
Oh my gosh. So
we are putting 0.05 units.
Yeah, that's probably a donation. But
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for tonight. We just kind of wanted to check in on these playoff how the playoffs have been going. Me and Daniel have missed doing these episodes, so we just wanted to hop on and talk some shit for a little bit. But yeah, recap. Jeremy Stephens by knockout and Davison Figueiredo money line for 1 unit in total. That might be the craziest recap I've ever given on the show. Oh my god. Oh, that's disgusting. Yeah, so 1 unit in play. If there's a time you guys fade us, today's probably the day, if I'm being honest. This is just for fun. Me and Dan are gonna be watching these fights together tomorrow, so we have something to keep us entertained. We'll definitely be up out of our seats if Jeremy Stephens clips this guy he's fighting. That'll be funny. But yeah, we're gonna wait until all the playoff series round 2 is decided. I do believe the Cavs and Pacers series starts on Sunday, so I might make that play official soon on Instagram, so keep an eye out there. I don't know when we'll have the chance to record the episode, since I know The Jets series will also be played on Sunday. So we'll kind of just play it by ear. We do have a plan. We do plan on making another video for round 2. But other than that, guys, we'll see you in the next one.